Sports presents Benning Bites with Damon Benning. Benning Bites with Damon Benning.
Coming off a fantastic weekend, a lot of sports. We can talk conference tournament seedings in college basketball after the weekend with, where Creighton stands, Nebraska with Iowa and Iowa City, and baseball with the tough stretch in Minnesota this weekend. But this is fresh off the heels of what we did last Friday on Coffee and Cream with Ravi Lula, who coincidentally for a programming note will be in here in just a few minutes on a Monday with Coffee and Cream. We will have Ravi with us Monday and Tuesday, so adjust your calendars accordingly. And by that I mean don't all of a sudden listen or not listen. It just means continue to make it appointment radio. However you get us, Apple, Google, Spotify. You can get us on the 590 app, and you can always catch us on YouTube. A little nugget, if you're watching us on television, YouTube, if you have the opportunity to, like whether it's on your computer at work or whatever, or you're not at home or you're listening in the car, those hard outs that you hear on radio, you can catch the rest of it on the YouTube broadcast, and sometimes that's where the good stuff happens, where they're just finishing up a point that they may have been previously trying to make before the hard out. But fresh off of talking to Nebraska's new chief of staff, Dr. Elsa, just fantastic stuff. A lot in there. And I think it comes at the perfect time, because when Ravi and I were in the discussion on Friday about baseline and benchmark and level of optimism and whether we were comparing it to the lowest common denominator, I thought was interesting. It sparked good thought, because are we excited because it's the off season? Are we excited because it's different than the previous staff? Or are we excited because we like what we're hearing and we have actually compiled a mental checklist of what we want to see to at least give the program a chance to win? It could even be, which maybe was what he's intimating, maybe it could be a combination of all three. Maybe you can like what's being said, what's being done. You do naturally compare it to previous regimes, and you are excited because you're excited every offseason. However that happens, I don't necessarily think, nor does he, that you'd have to apologize for it, but it does beg the question, expectation levels and how fluid should they be, right? If we're way gung-ho about the offseason and we love the staff and we love what Dr. Elsa has said, and we even like the way spring ball looks, who's responsible for changing the narrative if all of a sudden we say, oh man, they got to win 7 or 8 next year, knowing good and well we're forgetting that would have doubled the win total from a year ago and been 3 more wins in the win column than we've seen in the last 5 years, right? We got to own that kind of as a fan base, and it's not going to be my fault. It's not going to be Ravi's fault. It's not going to be Andrew's fault. It's not the media's fault for the fluidity or recalibrating expectations if we're giving it some good conscious thought early. Now, if you're just saying, hey, listen, DB, man, you're my guy. I listen to what you say. I count on you as the pulse of, Nebraska football or athletics or whatever it is, or wherever it is you listen to me. I'm just glad you do. I have to be accountable for that. But just know at the end of the day, I'm going to be authentic about it regardless. And I'm going to try to we are going to have conversations to provoke thought so you can own your responses and govern yourself accordingly. That's kind of why I do what I do in a nutshell, right? I always want to entertain, and if you find me being boring or me laughing at my own jokes too much, well, number one, I'm not that funny, so probably I'm laughing at somebody else's jokes, but if you are, man, it's like I'm just want folks to be free, independent self-thinkers that use context clues and their own deductive reasoning. I don't want to reshift, re-navigate, or tell you how to be a fan, because I do know fan is short for fanatic, but just because it has been doesn't mean it always should be. So that's just a lot of it. It was some fantastic conversation on Friday that we'll double down on today as we get a chance to catch up over the weekend and go back and after having gone back and listened to Dr. Elsa and some of the things that were said pre-conversation with Jay Foreman. If you missed that phone call, shame on you. Plenty of goodies in that one. And then a couple of real difficult, thought-provoking questions from Ravi Lula, too, that sparked the discussion right before Dr. Elsa's interview. So a lot to catch up on. Hopefully you're a part of what we do. If you're not, what is going on? What are those? I just have these weird moments. Anyway, remember, however you get us, at 590 ESPN, we're at KFOR at 9 in Lincoln. You can get the third hour if you want us in its entirety. There's YouTube TV, and you can get us on Apple, Google, or Spotify. However you do it, make sure it's a part of Benning Bites.